Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 6. So we are in the midst of a tiny break. Well, it's like the tiniest break possible for a period without an episode, if that makes sense. So we have a 1 week break without an episode of The Flash. So no Flash episode in a couple of days. Now I do get asked quite a bit about how many breaks there will be in this back half of The Flash. And from what I can tell, after this 1 week break, there should be another 2 or maybe 3 weeks without episodes before the season ends. If I had to take a guess, if we do have like the max of 3 weeks, we'll have a 2 week break and then we'll have a random like 1 week break. I don't think they'd give us like a 3 week break, which would be a month without the Flash. That would be a lot. So I don't think they'd do that. But I am basing that off whether the Flash this season finishes at a certain point. If it does finish a week earlier, then we will just have another 2 weeks without an episode. There's going to be another break, just to let you know. And I would probably expect that just before or just after episode 18. That episode, or an episode just before or just after, tends to be when they have that like 2 week break. We had it last season. I think we had it the season before. So that's probably when we're going to get it. But anyway, I just thought I would answer that question to start of the video because so many people have asked and were very curious. But in this video, we are going to be going over some new stuff for the next episode, The Flash Season 6, that will be hitting our screens or devices, whatever you watch it on, in just over a week from now. And that, of course, is episode 14, otherwise entitled Death of the Speed Force, but also it's now being known as the episode in which our good old mate Wally West, aka Kid Flash, returns to the show. Of course, Kenan Lonsdale, who plays Wally, was lined up to return at like around this point roughly last season, but that, obviously never played out after just appearing in the first episode of last season before heading off to wherever he wanted to go. Whether that was a creative decision not to bring him back or Kenan just didn't want to come back at that point, we will never know, but it might have been a bit of both, as I don't know how they would have warranted Wally's return when there was just so much focus on Nora, especially at that point in the season. It probably would have been a waste of time bringing Wally back then, for not only Kenan as an actor, but also just as Wally as a character. He would have done nothing if it was just for one episode back then. So I think it's best to have just left it, and then we get him this season. I think it's going to be cool. But first off, in this video, we will quickly just go over the promo images for this upcoming episode, episode 14, that were released, that do show us a bit more than what the trailer for this episode showed us, so very cool. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know all of your various opinions in the comment section down below. What catches your eye here, looking forward to Wally coming back, and any other theories you might have in regards to stuff we talk about. Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, why not drop a like on it to show your support and excitement for what's coming up. But yeah, let's just go through the promo images. So I'm just going to go through them in how they've saved on my computer, if that makes sense. So the first one is Iris pouring a glass of wine. I was about to say champagne, but that's obviously not champagne. That's a nice glass of white. Now you can see she's looking a bit, hey, I'm going to scull some alcohol here and just shut myself away from the party. But obviously we know this is Mirror Iris. So maybe she's trying to distance herself, maybe not to draw attention to herself, because there has been a lot of people saying if Cecile got in any range of Iris, or this version of Iris, might I say, she'd be able to tell straight away that this isn't like our Iris. Like straight away she'd be able to tell. And they've been keeping her at a distance on purpose. Now this might be the episode in which, well, there's a bit of a diss track and an exposed video on this. And the reason I say that is because Iris is obviously in Star Labs there, and then if we go to the next photo where we see Wally coming back, looking a bit hippie-ish, if you want to say, or a bit hipsterish, we obviously have Joe there, but also Cecile. So Cecile is going to be in the same room as this mirror version of Iris, so there could be a bit of drama going on here. Or at least Cecile is suspicious and maybe tells Joe or maybe Barry throughout the episode. So there actually might be a bit of a Iris undertone in this episode. Might have a bit of a bigger focus than we think of, because it might just be that exposed portion of the story, if you want to call it, or maybe they set it up for next episode. We'll have to wait and see. But we do have Cisco returning. The synopsis said that. Did the trailer have it? I don't think the trailer had Cisco in it. If it did, it must have been very quick. But of course, we know Cisco went on his journey at the end of episode 10, I think it was, to discover changes in the what do you want to call it, the multiverse after the crisis and everything like that. One of the big things that was brought up was the fact that in last episode, Barry uses Gideon to calculate the amount of changes, and so they were saying, well, what was the point of Cisco's journey? And I saw a lot of people saying this, and I can understand that, but I think it's more Cisco has the specifics, like the specific details and certain changes, especially changes that might affect Team Flash in regards to stuff they knew before. But if you think about back to the Gideon thing, like Barry was doing it to try and find his, it was an association, I guess, to try and find his parents' graves and everything like that, where the location of it, and he didn't find it through that. Obviously, his device was meant to do that, but Gideon just saying those changes didn't find it. So obviously Chester found it. So maybe a couple of those different, or a decent amount of those changes upon those, like, what was it, 3 trillion or whatever it was, or 3 billion? Was it 3 trillion or 3 billion? It was a lot. Cisco might have the specific details. I'm intrigued to see where he went. Maybe he encountered Wally. That might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm like curious as hell as to see like what Cisco brings up, because it could be just little Easter eggs, or it could be really cool in regards to future things on the show. So I'm excited to see what he brings in. Now, the next set of photos is actually, well, Kid Flash and the Flash doing some stuff. Now, here you can see there's like a random DX Racer gaming chair. So someone's been playing Fortnite in the middle of this location. Obviously, that's not the case. This is obviously a dismantled car. We've seen it happen on the show before. I think this is actually... Didn't Kid Flash and the Flash, I think, in DC Rebirth do the exact same thing with the car? I think they did, so they might try and recreate that. I'll try and, if I can find the image of the panel of the comic, I'll try and put it up on screen for you right now if I can find it, or if I'm able to put it in the video. But this is obviously, by the looks of it, especially when we see the two interacting, it seems like this is Wally as soon as he comes back. So this is the first sign of Wally we'll have in the episode, because also in the trailer it did show them hugging in this same location. So I think Barry's probably going to be chasing someone down, and then Wally shows up and helps him, and they dismantle the car, and they're able to save the person or arrest the person, whoever it is. We don't know if they're evil. It looks like a cop car almost in the background, like that door behind them, but I can't 100% tell. There's just a dude in the background though wearing big earmuffs, so maybe he was in the car. Who knows? But as you can tell by Wally's suit, I saw a lot of people memeing it. It does look really bad on this angle on the side. You can see it's sort of like overlapping. I did see people saying, "Oh, why didn't Wally get a new suit?" Like, if he's at this point, if he's just logged in for one episode, it would have been silly, like really silly, and just bad economics wise to spend all that money on a new suit for Wally. Maybe he sees Barry's new suit and goes, "Hey, maybe I need one of those," or something like that. So there might be like a hint at Wally getting a new suit, but I think they'd only warrant making Wally a new suit if he was going to be at least a character that showed up multiple times this season going forward, rather than just like sporadic, like random appearances. So he'll probably just keep this suit until there's some sort of like confirmed future for the character. And then there is just some like stuff in Star Labs, like Caitlin's reacting to something, maybe a reaction video. I'm not too sure. Maybe she's watching Legend of Tomorrow. I have no idea. Maybe Bebo appeared on screen. But obviously the title of the episode Death of the Speed Force, so maybe Caitlin's reacting to something like that. But it's a lot of Barry and Wally working together, which should be really cool. And I'm excited to see them working together, because they never really did too much with that. Like, even when Wally was Kid Flash, there was a lot of separation between the two. So I'm excited to see them actually work together as a team. Now, obviously, in this episode, there's going to be a villain that Barry and Wally are taking on. When we heard at Comic-Con about Wally coming back, Eric Wallace described it as Wally and Barry taking on one of the Flash's greatest enemies. So it's most likely Reverse Flash. I mean, like, they had the whole thing at last episode with Sherlock Wells, or the spirit of Sherlock Wells attacking Nash, and then his eyes going red, as in like Reverse Flash, and saying he is coming. So you'd have to think it's Reverse Flash, like... I guess it's like a 90% chance it's him. It could be Zoom, because we don't know what happened to him in this new Earth Prime timeline. I don't think they've actually confirmed him becoming Black Flash or anything like that. So it could be Zoom. But I'd have to say, I think it's between Reverse Flash and Zoom, to be completely honest. Even though I think Black Flash can make an appearance if that actually happened to him in this Earth Prime timeline. Now, in regards to Wally coming back later this season, there has really been no word on it. They're towards the end of filming now. They've got about a month and a bit left of filming for The Flash. So if he was going to come back, I'd probably say if he were to come back, I'd say it'd probably be in like the last episode or second last episode, not anywhere earlier than that. I'd love to have him back, but it depends on who the villain is. Like, if the villain doesn't warrant Wally, don't bring him back. But if it is this like crazy thing where Wally would serve the purpose of coming back, then of course bring him back. That'd be awesome to see him in The Flash, and maybe someone else help take down the villain. So I think that'd be very cool. But Eric Wallace did have a quote about Wally and his reintroduction into the show since his departure at the beginning of last season. Wally returns for one of the pivotal episodes in the mythology of The Flash, and that is not an understatement. He comes back a changed person, and what he comes back to deal with and how it involves Barry will literally change the two of them and their abilities, quite frankly, moving forward. It's going to be quite exciting. When I first talked to Keenan about it, he was very excited about what he called this fresh take on Wally, and once on set, he was loving the new Wally West. And that's not an exaggeration at all. It's the same character that we know and love, but he has grown, deepened, and changed, and he might even have some new abilities. So I am excited to see where it moves, I guess, the Speed Force in general forward. We have had hints that like Barry maybe not having new powers, but definitely having like maybe the Speed Force being a bit unbalanced, and that seems like what the entire episode is going to be. There's just something completely wrong, as if there's almost like a virus in the Speed Force. So I'm excited to see how they deal with it and where it moves them forward, and maybe if Barry gets some new abilities. I think I'm excited to see what just in general they do with it, especially Wally's new abilities and everything like that. But it also could lead to some bad stuff. Maybe the Speed Force gets more exposed and someone's able to take advantage of it. I'm curious to see what they do with it, because they still haven't set up the villain for the season. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I like keeping it a mystery, but you can't keep it a mystery for too long. You got to give us something. Give us some little crumbs and stuff. Is it Black Hole? Is it Mirror Master? Is it Reverse Flash? Let us know who the villain is, please. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all to talk about in this video. If you enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over. What are you looking forward to most in this episode? Do you have any theories about the Speed Force and even Wally in general, just other things? Let me know all of them in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on my next video. Goodbye.